Hi and hello. Chris here. Thank you for stopping by. I do appreciate it. Here I talk about true crime stories, everything from doe cases to serial killers. So if that is something that you are interested in and you haven't already, please hit that little subscribe button and the notification bell so you can get notified every time I post a video. And one thing I want to just talk about real quick, I apologize for the lighting in the background, but we are transitioning into a new place and it's in the works, so bear with things. Okay, so today's file. Today we're going to be talking about Rhonda Belle Martin. And we're actually going to go back in time because this all happened in the 1950s. Was she Alabama's Black Widow? Now, I really couldn't find a whole lot of details on this case, and you guys know, or the people that have been here know, that I really like going and getting a lot of details, kind of getting really into the story, but I just could not find a lot. But even so, I did find this pretty interesting, and I wanted to share. So, Rhonda Belle Martin was a waitress. She worked at a very popular diner in Montgomery, Alabama. Back in 1922, when Rhonda was only 15 years old, she married her first husband. And not much is known about this. The only thing I could find was that the marriage ended in divorce. Like, literally no details were talked about with her first marriage. Now, husband number 2 was George Garrett. They were married for 12 years and in that time had 5 children. Unfortunately for him, this marriage ended with his death in 1937. Now, his death was originally ruled as pneumonia. Now, Rhonda, well, looking from the outside in, this woman seemed to have suffered so much loss in her life. I mean, her first husband, there was a divorce. There was her second husband that had passed away. And now even more came about because her daughter, 3-year-old Emma Jean, died the same year as her second husband, George, in 1937. Mary Gibbons, Rhonda's mother, also died that year in 1937. 3 years later, in 1940, her 6-year-old daughter, Anne Carolyn, died. In 1943, her 11-year-old daughter, Ellen Elizabeth, had passed away. So much loss for one lady. But you know what? That didn't stop her. It didn't stop her from finding another husband. Oh, no, no. So we move on to husband number 3. And his name was Tamalj Gibson. And I apologize if I messed up that name. Their marriage only lasted 5 months, and I couldn't find any details onto why that marriage ended, but for his sake, thank goodness that it was just ending in divorce and not his life. Now, husband number 4 was Claude Martin, and they got married. When they got married, he came into the marriage with 3 daughters and a son, and by all accounts, it seemed to be a pretty happy marriage. But evidently not happy enough, because in 1951, Claude became very ill. And when I say ill, I mean he was being poisoned with a daily dose of arsenic in his coffee. And unfortunately, he did pass away. And what a horrible way to die. I mean, being killed by a partner, or anyone for that matter, is horrible, but arsenic poisoning, oh. I mean, see, from the research that I did on it, in large doses, the victim ends up suffering from intense stomach pains, dizziness, vomiting, vomiting of blood, numbness, and even paralysis. In small doses over time, it makes the victim feel like a never-ending, really bad flu. And in the end, the victim's digestive system ends up burning away and they end up starving to death. Such a horrible, horrible way to die. And at the time of Claude's death, doctors just ruled it out as natural causes. So 4 husbands, multiple children, many deaths, but it gets even a little bit more bizarre. 8 months, yes, only 8 months, and man, does this lady move fast. 8 months after Claude died, Rhonda married Ronald Martin, and he was 25 years old and husband number 5. And no, that's not what makes it the bad part. The bad part was that Ronald was her stepson. Yes, her stepson. That was one of Claude's sons. I mean, really, lady? Come on. But they got married, and once again, from the outside looking in, the marriage seemed to be going okay, considering she was married to the stepson. But surprise, surprise, in early 1956, he fell ill. And just like his father, complaining of really bad stomach pains, vomiting, and dizziness. He had been in the U.S. Navy, so he ended up going to a veterans hospital in Biloxi. And they tested him for everything they could think of to find out what was causing all this pain. A hair strand came back positive for arsenic poisoning. Thankfully, he did survive, but he did end up being paralyzed. Now, the hospital reported this finding to the police, and an investigation began into Rhonda's background. But they were kind of doing it on the down low in order not to raise any suspicions. When they discovered the amount of deaths of people that were close to her, they decided that they're going to exhume a few of the bodies to investigate even further. What did they find? Well, they found high levels of arsenic in the bodies of her dead husbands, her mother, and her children. See, the thing about arsenic is that it stays in the body, and you can find traces of it even after death and even after a cremation. In March of 1956, police confront Rhonda with what they found. And surprisingly enough, Rhonda confessed to everything. The one thing that nobody could answer, not even Rhonda herself, was why. Why was she doing this? There was literally no motive. Yeah, she did collect a little bit of insurance money on the deaths, but the payouts, they were minimal at best, and some of them even barely just covering the funeral costs. There was absolutely no reason to kill off her family members. During the trial, Rhonda did claim insanity. Don't they all? But she was sentenced to death for Claude's murder. And I couldn't find any details as to why she wasn't charged with the other murders, but aside for seeking justice for the victims, in the end, it didn't matter because she would never be out in public again. Now, Rhonda Belle Martin, who was at the time 50 years old, admitted to killing her mother, 2 husbands, and 3 of her daughters. She also admitted to the attempted murder of husband number 5, Ronald. So, by all accounts, she was classified as a serial killer. All the murders done were by lacing their drinks, whether it was coffee or the children's milk, with arsenic. On October 11th, 1957, Rhonda was strapped into an electric chair. While holding her Bible, she was brought to her death. Afterwards, her attorney took the Bible and actually found a note inside the cover, and it read, "At my death, whether it be a natural death or otherwise, I want my body to be given to some scientific institution to be used as they see fit, but especially to see if someone can find out why I committed the crimes I have committed. I can't understand it, for I have no reason whatsoever. There is definitely something wrong. Can't someone find it and save someone else the agony I have been through?" The agony she's been through? What about the agony of all her poor victims? My goodness. the agony she's been through. Anyway, you guys, so that's it for today's case file. A woman who, by all accounts, seemed to be normal, living a normal everyday life, goes off killing her loved ones for absolutely no apparent reason. Absolutely crazy. What did you guys think of this one? Comment down below, because I always do like to hear your thoughts and opinions. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the little thumbs up button on your way out. I always appreciate it. And until the next one, please be well and stay safe. Lots of love from Calgary.